All right, so our focus is going to be on Bonner County. So we're going to practice our editing to kind of bring that focus in. So we just added a point that needed to be in our set. So we created something new. The next thing we're going to do, let's kind of zoom out, and what we're going to do is we are going to use, there's lots of different ways to do this, but we are going to use select by location to get just those Huck 12 watersheds that intersect Bonner County. So a little practice with that. So we're going to select from, oh, you know what? Who's selectable right now? I need the watersheds to be selectable. And if I want to, I can turn off my escapist points just to keep me safe. So I'm going to say watersheds, and these are the ones that are projected, that intersect, and they're going to intersect Bonner County. And that's going to create a new selection. Boom. So now I've got my watersheds in Bonner County. I'm going to create a new layer from that. So I'll go over here, watersheds, data, export features, and I'm going to call it Bonner County Huck 12. Okay. And so, our hypothetical, impetus for the project could be something like planning for multiple species protection in Bonner County and trying to identify areas that are target. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the Idaho ones. So we'll remove those. So now we just have these ones here. The next piece that we're going to do, just to kind of focus us down, is we just want to deal with the escapist locations that occur within Bonner County. So we're going to run the same thing again, select by location, and this time, let's see. Oh, escapist is there. Now escapist is selectable. So we're going to select from. Come back. We're going to select from our escapist ones, those that are within Bonner County. Make that a new selection. Okay, let's just make sure that looks right. Yep, looking good there. And so we're going to, now we're going to output that as a new feature class, and so that's going to be that's where those highlighted points are part of the Idaho Department of Fish and Game escapist data. We'll go down to data, export features, and it's going to our analysis demos. That's where we want it for this. And then we'll call it Bonner County escapist. Okay. All right. So now we can remove all of Idaho Department Fish and Game, and we just leave these ones. Okay. So we just kind of ran through the kind of sequence that GIS person will often do, that you might often do to kind of pare things down. The next piece we want to do is we have two different things. I'll look at the big picture here. What we're trying to do is get, we'd like to see just those watersheds within Bonner County, and just those portions of the watershed within Bonner County that contain escapist. So we've got lots of watersheds that don't have any tailed frogs. We're really just looking at them at the eastern side of the watershed. So what we're going to do is another select by location. Did you ever think you'd do this many? Another select by location where, let's see here, where are Bonner County Huck 12s, and let's just make sure that they're selectable. Yep, they are. All right. The Bonner County Huck 12s that contains Bonner County escapist. And let's make sure that that works. Okay, so that just identified those watersheds, those 12th order watersheds that contain escapist within Bonner County, and so that's okay. Now let's just pull those out. So we'll go over here. And the idea is you'll be able to create a layout that you could actually show to folks that are planning within the area. You could show them where we have priorities, where tailed frogs are known to occur within that watershed. And of course, you know, you probably wouldn't be dealing with County Planning Commission, really. Who you're going to be dealing with, right, is most of this land ownership is Forest Service, but some of it's state and private. So maybe you work for the county and you wanted to bring an argument to your Forest Service ranger district, or you wanted to bring an argument to state land managers. You could say, hey, you know, I'm representing Bonner County, and this is where I'd like to show you where we should have some conservation priorities. Okay, so what was I doing here? I've got my Bonner County Huck 12s. I'm going to create a new layer just from that selection, just from those that have tailed frogs in them. So I'll go down to Data, Export Features. Hopefully you do this enough times, and then you'll remember as you get to your own projects, and you're like, oh, I remember how I did that. And so we'll go back to our demo database, and it's going to be Bonner Huck 12 with a Scaphus. Okay. Whew. And now we can remove this one. Remove. And now we can see just, so now we've targeted. These are the areas. I'm going to save my map. I'm going to zoom into these target areas here. The last thing that we're going to do 2 more edits. And those 2 are going to be based on the question we're working on right now. That was just preliminaries to get you kind of practiced, warmed up. Now we're going to be looking at how do I fix existing features that are incorrect. So let's walk through that. We're going to do that with a pointing with a polygon. I just thought it'd be good for you guys to see a couple different tools. There are many editing tools, so we're only going to use a couple in this demonstration, but as you get yourself into things, it's going to start to, you'll start to figure them out. Plus you'll have a little bit of a bookwork that'll focus there as well. All right, so what are we doing? There is a point in here that I dispute. Okay, so come back. I'm just panning around here, zooming in. It's this point here, and I don't know how many of you have been up in here. Maybe some of you have. This is Highway 200. It heads out of Sandpoint into Montana towards Knox and Dam. This is the Idaho Club. It's a golf course. And then this is the Pack River Delta area. In fact, it's like it's kind of a rich wildlife area in here. What you need to know about tailed frogs is they are not found in like flat water, meandering streams like the Pack River. There are absolutely bullfrogs in here, and that's another story. I wouldn't be surprised to find a western toad, Pacific tree frogs, but tailed frogs are not found at the Idaho Club. Here's what happened. Someone went out and they collected, and they came back and they had a container full of frogs. They took a photo. The photo was geolocated to that spot, and it showed up there when they entered it into iNaturalist. This is an iNaturalist record, so I'm going to use my Explore tool. I'm going to show you what I mean. You have to trust me. Just trust me to be a taxon expert and tell you this is a suspect location. And so when we click on that, right, we get all that information for yeah, and so they're very confident, but what you need to do is you need to follow this to its actual iNaturalist observation. If you click on that, super useful. You get, yeah, check that out. That's a great little container of tailed frogs, but what I can tell you is the person who took the picture is not a taxon expert, and I can tell you maybe she collected them up, not on the Pack River. You're not going to find them on the Pack River, but maybe she collected them further up one of these smaller streams, and then she was just brought them back, or she photographed them down there at the Idaho Club, but I can tell you she did not collect them there. So that is suspect, and so we're actually going to go ahead and delete that point from the data set. So back into the data set, I just wanted to explain why it's suspect. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going into my editing tab. I gotta select it first. Going to select it. Boom. Oh, and you see what I just did? I just selected the whole watershed. That could get me in trouble. So I need to have I'm going to go ahead and clear it. Now I come back to the Idaho Club and I don't select the whole watershed. That's why it's useful. And then I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Yes. And it's gone. Because I don't really know where she got those. It could have been way up Trout Creek. That's a possibility. That's got some decent habitat, but it wasn't down there. So, okay. So now let's go ahead and take a look here. Now we've got that whole watershed doesn't have a tailed frog on it. So I should go ahead and delete that one. So let's select this one again. Boop. Edit, select. Oh, it's not selectable, right? Let me make that selectable. And now I can delete that. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and save my edits. All right, so that was kind of doing some editing with existing data. The other piece I want to do is we've got these polygons, and on my map I don't want to show where they extend outside the county boundary. I just want to show them within the county boundary. Okay. I don't have a biological reason for that. It's just a GIS teaching reason because we need to practice with this, okay? Otherwise, you know, watershed boundaries are much more meaningful than county boundaries. Maybe not for like jurisdictional type of decisions, but for biological decisions. So what we're going to do is we need to be able to both select and edit just my Bonner County HUC-12s. So I'm going to go ahead, did that, and before you edit anything, you've got to select it. So I'm here in editing, I've got my select highlighted. I'm going to just drag over the edge of that to select it. And then I'm going to use, there's lots of tools available for editing here. If you want to edit individual vertices, that's a good one. If you want to reshape the whole thing, that's this. Split it into two pieces. Honestly, I think I might use split because that's nice for straight lines, and then I might just delete the piece that's outside the county boundary. I'm gonna start with this one. And the idea with split, that's kind of that you're gonna want to go back to. So I'm holding down C, so I still have the tool up, but if I hold down C, it lets me pan. I'm just gonna kind of zoom in here so I can be as accurate as I can. You have to start, if you're using split, you have to start outside the boundary of your feature you're gonna split, and then you double click outside the boundary again. Okay, and so I just split it into two pieces. So that's happy for me. I'm going to clear my selection. Now I'm just going to select this northern half, or this northern little chunk. I'm going to delete it. Yes, I do want to delete it. Okay, so now I just have that watershed within. So that's how we edit an existing feature. Let's go ahead. These ones try to follow the boundary. That's nice when the boundary is a watershed boundary. But down here, let's carve these ones out as well. And let's see here. So split's not going to work as well because we have to cross. Split won't work very well for this one because we don't have a straight line that crosses the boundary, but it will work for this watershed because we have a straight line that crosses the boundary. So I'm going to hit select this puppy, and split. I'm going to click outside and then double click. You see how the snapping kind of takes me right to something. I'm going to clear that, and then I'll just select that, delete it, yes, and then holding down C again. I think we'll use reshape on the next one, so let's try that one. So let's select it. The lakes watershed, and we're going to use reshape. With that one, you also kind of click outside, and then, but you can move a little bit. So I'm holding down pan so I can get to this vertex, boop, and holding down C so I can kind of, okay, down to the next one. Now I'm going to have to click outside. Okay, and so that deletes it on its own. I'm just telling it to reshape this whole feature. I'm going to save those edits because those are beautiful edits. They worked well. And so now, effectively, do we have anywhere else where the watersheds are outside the county boundaries? No. So we just carved this down to show just those watersheds and the portions of those watersheds within Bonner County that have a trusted record of the Rocky Mountain-tailed frog. Good job, us. We saved our edits. We saved our whole map. Let's take a quick look at the workbook to make sure we're filling in what we need to fill in. In the editing tools, select the offending feature. Choose from the many available tools. Floating menus will become available as different tools are selected. Yes. The next thing we haven't done is we need to update our attribute fields. Attribute fields. Areas and lengths will not automatically adjust, so the area of these watersheds is not going to be accurate because we just cut off chunks of them. They don't automatically calculate a new area. You have to do that yourself and then save your edit. So we'll do that. So how do I update my attribute field? Let's do it right now. Okay, so the attribute field that we need to focus on is just going to be our HUC12s here. So we're going to open that attribute table. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it's out of the way. Then I'm going to select the ones that I munched on. So I'm just going to use my map select so I don't accidentally edit something. So I munched on this one. I'm going to hold down Shift. I munched on this one, and I munched on this one. I'm doing that so that they're highlighted here. And so we actually don't have a lot of data available for a lot of things. That's just the way agency data is, and this stuff was from the USGS. But do we have an area? Oh, the area in acres, the area in square kilometers is going to be wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to say calculate geometry, and this is to update that area because we snipped these down, we edited them down. So area of acres, what I want is my area. Use geodesic wherever it's an option, and it should be an option. It's the more advanced GIS has gotten, the more easily we can use a geodesic measurement, and that's going to be more correct. What else did I want to say? Because it takes into account the curvature of the Earth. Now it can have a longer processing time, but for small polygons like this, that's not going to be bad. If it was a huge data set and huge areas, maybe it would be an issue, but we're good there. The area unit is going to be acres. U.S. survey acres. That's the ones that are used in this area. And then this will just default to the coordinate system of the layer and of the map. All right, so I just updated the area in acres. Now let's update the area in square kilometers using the same calculate geometry. So area square kilometers, and we want area geodesic, but not survey acres. We want square kilometers, and this will just default to the same coordinate system as the map and the layer. So it should be the same. All right. Okay, thank you, USGS. Those should be, okay, Gold Creek, Lake Pend Oreille, Grouse Creek. Yeah, so we should be, that should have us fully updated. So we can clear our selection, we can, but we do need to go to edit here. We actually have to save those edits. Oh, sorry. Calculate geometry actually doesn't need to be saved, it automatically saves. So just one of the little inconsistencies that keep us on our toes. All right, so that's, we did that. Spatial fields use calculate geometry, save your edits. Okay, how do I calculate numeric fields with calculate geometry? Right click in the heading for the numeric and select calculate geometry. Calculate geometry. Select the spatial property that you would like to fill this attribute with. Geodesic. So remember, geodesic takes into account the curvature of the Earth, and so it's always going to be more accurate. And then those are some of the properties you can choose from. And it depends whether you're working with a line or a polygon or a point, what properties will be available for measurement, you know, because obviously for a point you're not going to get area, for a line you're not going to get area, but you can get XY coordinates for the point, and you can get length for the line. All right, and then This is some Esri information on the different units of measurement if you're not familiar with them. When we're working in like a state plane, we're usually working in survey feet. And there's not much difference. And so this is where we'll end this part of the Section 9 demonstration. When we come back, we'll be looking at creating a whole new feature class and like click around on the map to create it instead of creating it from a selection, which we've done a bunch of today. All right, good job, and I will see you soon.